This is an 8-foot-long shovel-like thing with a wooden handle. The finder thinks it says Wintel Co. on it. It was found in the rafters of a garage. What is it for? It's for digging utility pole holes. A standard shovel is too wide to be effective for digging the deep, narrow holes required for setting utility poles or fence posts. This long-handled tool is a type of post hole digger, sometimes called a digging spade or a spoon shovel. Its narrow blade is used to loosen the dirt at the bottom of the deep hole, and the spoon shape helps to scoop out the loosened dirt. It's often used in conjunction with a clamshell-style post hole digger. This is a light metal piece with a series of markings. It's 6.25 inches tall and weighs 13.8 O's. The shape and markings make the finder think it's from an aircraft. What is it? The markings provide the answer. MFG 50888 is the cage code, a unique identifier for government suppliers for AGH Industries, an aerospace manufacturer. A part number search identifies this as a part of the hydraulic, vacuum, or deicing system from a Boeing B-52 Stratofortress bomber. It is made from cast magnesium for lightweight, which explains why it feels so light for its size. It is a very specific and fascinating piece of a historic military aircraft. This metal object is approximately 9 cm wide. About 10 to 12 of them were found among cutlery. It has a hollow cylinder that seems to be for holding something, and the text "Depose" on the bottom. What are they? The mystery is solved. This is a combination knife rest with a bud vase. A knife rest is a piece of tableware used to hold a dirty knife, preventing it from soiling the tablecloth between courses. Depose is French for registered, indicating a registered design. The unique feature of this one is the small hollow cylinder, which is a tiny bud vase. This would allow each place setting at a formal dinner table to be decorated with a single small flower, combining 2 classic tableware accessories into one elegant object. This rubber bulb thing has an air valve and was found with old sewing stuff. Yellow glue on top is hard. What is it? This is a part of a pneumatic foot pedal that controlled a sewing machine. These air-powered foot controls were common in the 80s and 90s. The foot pedal itself contained a larger air bladder. When the user pressed on the pedal, it would squeeze the air through a tube to this smaller rubber bulb, which was located on the machine. The expansion of this bulb would then activate the machine's motor switch. This one appears to be the bulb and switch assembly from the machine side of the system. This little magnet handheld tool thing is very light and made of plastic. The metal part is magnetic, but not strong enough to hold itself up on a whiteboard. It was found in a box of miscellaneous cords and small electronic devices. What is it for? It's for hanging a picture hook without a hammer. Specifically, it's a stud finder and a tack holder in one. The weak magnet is not for holding the tool, but for detecting the metal screws or nails in a wall stud behind the drywall. Once you locate a stud, you place a metal picture hook onto the magnetic tip of the tool. This holds the hook in place while you hammer it into the wall, keeping your fingers safely out of the way. It is a simple but clever little DIY tool. I thought these were inkwells at first, but the inside part resembles a bushing and is open on the end. The outer part is stumping me for any further Google searches. They are flat on the bottom and solid brass. What are they? These are fly tying hair stackers. In the craft of fly tying for fishing, tiers often use bunches of animal hair, like deer or elk hair, to create the wings or tails of artificial flies. To make the fly look neat, the tips of all the hairs in a bunch need to be perfectly aligned. To do this, the tier places a cut bunch of hair into the brass tube of the stacker, tips first. They then tap the stacker on the table, which causes all the hairs to settle down and align their tips perfectly against the bottom. The tube is then removed, and the perfectly aligned bunch of hair is ready to be tied onto the fly. These small, flexible rubber things were found after a main sewer line was water jetted. The finder has no clue what they could be or how they ended up in the plumbing. They are about 2 to 3 inches in size and have 2 sets of X's of different lengths. These are Poise Impressa bladder supports. They are an over-the-counter, disposable medical device designed for women to manage stress urinary incontinence. The device is inserted into the vagina, much like a tampon, where it is designed to support the urethra and prevent leaks. They are not meant to be flushed down the toilet, as they can cause serious clogs in a home's plumbing and in the municipal sewer system. A previous tenant likely flushed them, leading to the blockage that required the sewer line to be jetted. These are small brass-colored cylinders, slightly tapered with a blunt end, and less than a centimeter long. The wife thought they were spent bullets, but there are no casings. The finder speculated they could be brass shelf pegs. Is this correct? The finder's speculation is correct. These are shelf pins, also known as shelf supports or pegs. They are used in cabinets and bookshelves that have adjustable shelves. A series of holes is drilled into the sides of the cabinet. You would insert 4 of these pins at the desired height, and then the shelf simply rests on top of them. The slight taper helps them to fit snugly into the drilled holes. They are a very common piece of cabinet hardware. This mysterious plastic item was left behind by a tenant. What is its purpose? This is a cover that goes over the controls of a water heater. The thermostat dial and other controls on a water heater are often exposed. This plastic cover is a safety feature designed to be snapped into place over those controls. It prevents the temperature settings from being accidentally bumped or changed, and it also protects the controls from dust and moisture. It is a simple but important part of the water heater's outer jacket. It was likely removed by the tenant to adjust the temperature and then not put back on. It says Defiance on this metal and ceramic object, which is 2.75 inches long. It was found on a trail that used to be a railroad bed. Guesses include fuse, torch tip, and spark plug. The finder is leaning towards spark plug, as Defiance was a vintage brand. The finder is correct. It's an old spark plug. Defiance was indeed a brand of spark plugs popular in the early to mid-20th century. While it may not look exactly like a modern spark plug, the basic components are there. The ceramic insulator to contain the high voltage and the metal body. The commenter notes the metal plug has snapped off, and it has likely been heavily worn down over many years of lying along the railroad bed. It's a classic piece of early automotive and industrial engine history. This stamped metal tag, with numbers 1492 plus 28, was found while metal detecting in an old park in Texas. It looks like it was screwed onto something on each side. What is it? The numbers remind the commenter of linear referencing or chainage. This is an old tag that would have been placed along a road, a train track, or a pipeline as a distance reference point. Linear referencing is a system used to locate features along a linear element based on their distance from a starting point. In this system, 1492 plus 28 would mean 1492 units, like hundreds of feet or meters, plus 28 feet meters from a designated 0 point. These tags provided crucial location information for maintenance and engineering crews before the advent of GPS. This object is in the corner of a chapel at a workplace. It's about 2.5 feet tall and made of wood and metal. Inside, it has a series of metal bars or tubes and hammers. What is it? This is an instrument or device that electronically mimics the sounds of church bells. The commenter believes there should be a keyboard to play it, which seems to be missing. Inside the wooden cabinet would be an amplifier and a system of metal bars or chimes, like those in a tubular bell instrument, which are struck by electromagnetically operated hammers. This allowed a church or chapel that couldn't afford or physically accommodate a full set of real heavy cast bells to still have the sound of carillon bells for services. 3 small plastic rings were found about a week apart on a kitchen floor. They are all identical aside from color and have no identifying marks. What are they from? The finders solved their own mystery. They are for their Wacom tablet and pen. Wacom is a popular brand of graphics tablets used by digital artists. The pens or styluses for these tablets have a removable nib, the tip, that wears down over time and needs to be replaced. These small plastic rings are spare nibs, or, more likely, are the small colored identification rings that can be slipped onto the body of the Wacom pen. This allows an artist to personalize their pen or to quickly distinguish between different pens that might have different settings. A patient gave this to the finder. It's 3 gold copper-colored discs with symbols on them, tied together with red string in a triangle, inside a red envelope. What is it? These are Feng Shui coins, a traditional good luck token. They are reproductions of ancient Chinese coins. In Feng Shui, these coins, tied together with a red string, are believed to attract wealth and prosperity and to provide protection. The combination of the three coins, the red string, an auspicious color, and the specific knots used are all symbolic. They are often given as a gift to wish the recipient good fortune, which is a lovely and sincere gesture from a thankful patient. What is this part found under the passenger seat of a new 2022 Chevy Bolt? It's a small metal piece with a zip tie attached to it. The finder is the first owner. This is a pin used during the vehicle's assembly to hold the steering wheel straight. While the car is moving down the assembly line and before all the steering and suspension components are connected and aligned, this pin is used to lock the steering wheel in the dead center position. After the alignment is complete, the pin is removed. They are often dropped or thrown into the vehicle by the assembly line workers and are a very common find in new cars. The zip tie is just a handle to make it easy to pull out. This metal and plastic disc in a plastic wrap was found in a tie. It's not flat and doesn't feel like a button. What is this electronic component? This is a piezoelectric speaker, the kind used to play a song or a sound effect in a musical greeting card. A piezoelectric speaker is a very thin, simple speaker that works by applying a voltage to a piezoelectric material, causing it to vibrate and produce sound. The entire module, including the small circuit board and battery, would be embedded in the greeting card and activated when the card is opened. This one has likely been separated from its original card. Rusted metal tubes are sticking out of the ground in the middle of a forest beside a stream on the north shore of Lake Superior. The whole object is about the size of a microwave. It seems very old, maybe part of a cabin that used to be there. What is it? This is a shallow well jet pump. Before submersible well pumps became common, these were used to draw water from a shallow well or from a surface source like a lake or a stream. The pump itself, with its electric motor and impeller, would be located above ground like this one. It uses two pipes, one to suck water up and another to send a portion of that water back down to a jet at the bottom, which creates the suction needed to lift the water. This was likely the water pump for a remote cabin that has long since disappeared. This is a small metal unscrewable poker, about 4 or 5 inches long, found in a parking lot at a biker event. The finder isn't sure if it's a tool or a self-defense poker. It comes apart, but the purpose of the springs inside is unclear. This is an automatic center punch. It is a tool used by machinists and woodworkers to create a small dimple in a workpiece before drilling a hole. The user presses the point of the punch against the material, and the spring-loaded mechanism inside delivers a sharp, forceful blow to the tip, creating the dimple. This small indentation then prevents the drill bit from wandering as the hole is started. It is not a weapon, but a very common and useful layout tool for any workshop. A drawer from an old wooden cupboard has a ventilated front face. The inside has wooden dowels set out in a bowl shape. What were these for? These are vegetable drawers, sometimes called coulis drawers. Before modern refrigeration was ubiquitous, these were used for storing root vegetables like potatoes, onions, and carrots. The ventilated front allowed for air to circulate, which helps to keep the vegetables dry and prevents them from rotting or sprouting prematurely. The slatted or dowel-based bottom also promoted airflow from all sides. They were a common feature in older kitchen cabinets and pantries, designed to be a cool, dark, and well-ventilated storage space. This gigantic object is longer than a semi-truck and at least 10 feet tall. The other side was more silver and had maybe an accordion-type shape. Lens was no help. What is this massive piece of industrial equipment? This looks like a traveling beam for an overhead bridge crane. An overhead crane is a piece of heavy industrial equipment found in factories, warehouses, and shipyards, used for lifting and moving extremely heavy loads. It consists of 2 parallel runways with a bridge beam that spans between them and travels along the runways. This gigantic object is one of those main bridge beams or girders. The accordion-type shape might be the enclosed conductor bars that provide electrical power to the hoist that travels along this beam. This thing is hanging from my office ceiling. It's black and looks like it has a head or face of some sort. There were many of them in a previous office. The finder was told it was a temperature probe, is that correct? Yes, that's correct. This looks like a waterproof version of a Dallas DS18B20 temperature sensor, or a similar digital temperature sensor. These are very common and inexpensive sensors used in a huge variety of applications for monitoring temperature. They are often encased in a metal or plastic probe like this one to protect them. In an office building, they would be connected to the building's HVAC and energy management system, providing temperature data for individual zones, which allows the system to control heating and cooling more efficiently. This round metal loop with a red plastic piece fell to the bottom of a Whirlpool dishwasher. The finder can't figure out if it's a part of the dishwasher or something in it. This looks like the liner piece from a hole on a serving utensil. Many large serving spoons, spatulas, or other kitchen utensils have a hole in the handle so they can be hung on a hook. To add a decorative accent or a more comfortable feel, this hole is often lined with a plastic or silicone ring, like this red one. It is very common for these small, press-fitted rings to come loose and fall out during a hot dishwasher cycle. It's an accessory from a utensil, not a part of the dishwasher itself. This is a heavy steel handle with an adjustable claw steel head, about 8.75 inches long. The head adjusts up or down by pushing a button on the side of the hinge. The finder's friend, who owns it, doesn't know what it is. This is an adjustable or indexing head prybar. A standard prybar has a fixed head, but this one has a head that can be locked into multiple different angles. This makes it an incredibly versatile tool, as it allows the user to adjust the angle of the head to get the best leverage in tight or awkward spaces. As the commenter notes, mechanics often like this size for working on things like fuel injectors, where a specific angle is needed to pry the component out without damaging its surroundings. Found in a bookshelf, this very small electronic thing made 2 beeping noises every 5 minutes or so, driving the finder nuts. They finally found it and removed the battery. The finder suspects their roommate put it there to mess with them. What is it? This is a prank annoying sound device. It is a small, simple circuit board consisting only of a battery, a small speaker or piezo buzzer, and a timer circuit. Its sole purpose is to be hidden in a room where it will periodically emit a short, annoying sound, like a beep or a cricket chirp. The sound is often designed to be hard to locate, driving the victim of the prank slowly crazy as they try to find the source. This is a classic, if maddening, practical joke device. Rocky, oblong, transparent things always fall from the finder's bag. They thought it was dirt at first, but for years, these things keep coming off the bag. A finger is shown for size comparison. What are they? These could be silica gel beads from a desiccant pack that has broken open inside the lining of the bag. Silica gel is a desiccant, a substance that absorbs moisture. Small packets of these beads are often included with new products like handbags or shoes to keep them dry during shipping and storage. If one of these small packets has torn open inside the bag's lining, the tiny, transparent beads could be slowly leaking out over time, leading to the constant discovery of these rocky things. This is a green cylindrical metal post with a dome top and mesh on the top half. It was noticed for the first time after 3 years of living in the city. What is it for? It's a vent for whatever utility equipment is down below. This could be a transformer vault for the electrical utility, a high point in a water main that needs to vent air, a sewer vent, or a vent for an underground telecommunications vault. The sturdy metal construction is to protect it from damage, and the mesh screen is to allow air to pass through freely while keeping out debris, trash, and animals. The writing on the manhole cover near it might provide clues as to which utility it belongs to. What is this white plastic and metal, vaguely apple-seeming cover connector? 4 of them were received in a box of electronics and cables from a recycling center. A standard USB plug is shown for scale. This is a locking mechanism for the classic Apple iSight A10223 webcam. The iSight was a popular external webcam in the early 2000s that connected via FireWire. This small plastic and metal clip was an accessory that attached to both the webcam and the FireWire 400 cable. Its purpose was to keep the cable securely attached to the camera, preventing it from being accidentally disconnected. It's a very specific accessory for a very specific piece of vintage Apple hardware. This belt-driven shaft was with a Craftsman 100 table saw. It looks like it might hold a circular saw blade between the two discs on the left, and it has mounting hardware and tension screws. The finder has already guessed exactly what it is. This is the Arbor assembly from underneath the table saw. The motor of the table saw is a separate unit. A belt runs from the motor to the pulley on this Arbor, causing the Arbor to spin at high speed. The circular saw blade is then secured to the Arbor between the two discs, Arbor flanges. This entire assembly mounts underneath the saw's main table. The one found is likely a spare, or the one that was replaced for one reason or another and not thrown away. This spinning thing is on top of a work van. What is its purpose? This is a wind-powered roof vent. These are commonly installed on commercial vans, RVs, and trailers to provide ventilation without needing to use electrical power. As the vehicle moves, or even when it is parked in a breeze, the wind catches the fins of the turbine, causing it to spin. This spinning action creates a slight vacuum, which actively pulls stale, hot, or fume-laden air out of the vehicle's interior. It is a simple, effective, and energy-free way to keep the inside of a work van ventilated. Found laying near a freeway, this is a long, rusty spike with no markings. What is it? These are stakes used for building concrete forms, also known as form pins or form stakes. When creating concrete structures like curbs, sidewalks, or foundations, wooden or metal forms are built to hold the wet concrete in the desired shape until it cures. These long, strong steel stakes are driven into the ground alongside the forms. The forms are then nailed or wired to these stakes, which hold them securely in place and prevent them from bowing outwards under the immense pressure of the wet concrete. They are a fundamental tool in concrete formwork. These fell out of the dryer today, and the finder doesn't know if they're from the machine or clothing. They are small metal objects about the size of the tip of a pencil. What are they? This looks like the inside pieces of a retail security tag that's supposed to be removed at the store. A common type of anti-theft tag for clothing uses a pin that goes through the garment and locks into a plastic body containing several small ball bearings and a spring-loaded clutch mechanism. A special, powerful magnet at the checkout counter is used to release the clutch and remove the tag. This is what's left of one that was not removed, and it has likely been broken open during the washing and drying process, releasing the small metal parts inside. This is an orange, pliable rubber object shaped like pliers. It was found on the sidewalk under a set of mailboxes. It's about 4.5 inches by 2 inches. What is it? This is an orange baby teether. Teething toys are given to infants and toddlers whose teeth are erupting. Chewing on the soft but firm rubber or silicone provides counterpressure on their gums, which can soothe the discomfort and pain of teething. They come in a huge variety of fun shapes and bright colors to make them appealing to young children. The plier shape is just a whimsical design. Its discovery on a sidewalk suggests it was dropped from a stroller or by a child. An aerosol can with a dangling attachment was seen in the hand of a sketchy man outside a door on a doorbell camera. This was after a theft of airsoft guns and swords. What is this suspicious item? While the context is certainly unnerving, the object itself might be more benign. A plausible identification is that this is a portable Bluetooth speaker. Many modern Bluetooth speakers are cylindrical, about the size of an aerosol can, and often come with a lanyard or a dangling strap, the attachment. They are a very common personal accessory. While the person's behavior is suspicious, the object itself is likely just a speaker, and its resemblance to something more sinister in a low-quality doorbell camera image is probably just a coincidence. I saw this e-bike with an attachment on the back. It looks like it is sensing something. What does it do, or what is it for? This is a mobile LiDAR mapping rig. LiDAR stands for light detection and ranging. The device on the back of the e-bike rapidly sends out pulses of laser light. By measuring the time it takes for these pulses to reflect off surfaces and return to the sensor, it can create a highly accurate, three-dimensional point cloud of the surrounding environment. These e-bike mounted rigs are used by utility companies, surveyors, and city planners to collect street-level 3D mapping data of sidewalks, curbs, utility poles, and building facades, much like how Google does Street View, but with 3D data. My boyfriend was going through the safe and found these two long metal pieces attached together with one screw. He has no idea where they came from or what they're for. They are likely gun-related. These are rail adapters for a scope. Many firearms use a specific type of mounting rail for scopes, such as a Weaver or a Picatinny rail. However, some rifles, especially older models or those of a different type, like a .22 rifle, might have a different, often narrower, dovetail-style rail machined into the receiver. These adapters are designed to clamp onto that non-standard dovetail rail. They then provide a standard Weaver or Picatinny rail on top, allowing the user to mount a much wider variety of modern scopes and optics onto their rifle. This handheld object is about 6 inches in length. The body is made of a very bendable metal, like a wire. The very end is what looks like a miniature corkscrew. The handle is plastic. What is this flexible tool? It is for pulling the packing around a drive shaft. This is another type of packing extractor, similar to the gland packing removers we saw earlier. This one, with its flexible shaft, is specifically designed for removing the packing from the stuffing box of a boat's propeller shaft or a large industrial pump. The flexible shaft allows the technician to reach the packing gland, which is often in a very tight and hard-to-reach space in an engine room. The corkscrew end is screwed into the old, compressed packing material to pull it out. This weird thing was found outside the gas station I work at. It's a plastic piece connected to a wooden dowel. There's a small hole in the end of the plastic piece, and the wood rod is as long as a hand. What is it? This is the rod from a Toddler's magnetic fishing toy game. The set would include several plastic or wooden fish, each with a small metal piece in it. This rod, a simple wooden dowel with a plastic handle, would have a string attached, with a small magnet tied to the end of the string. The magnet would have been housed in the plastic tip with the small hole. The child would then fish for the plastic fish by picking them up with the magnet. It is just a part of a classic children's game. What is this Nordic Specialties metal thing? I found in a used vehicle that came from Colorado. It says Goleta, California, and is somewhat heavy. This is a device called a Crampon, but specifically one designed to be attached to a snowshoe. Standard crampons are for ice climbing and attached to boots. These are an accessory for snowshoes made by the company Nordic Specialties, which, oddly, was based in Goleta, California. When a snowshoer encounters a patch of hard ice on the trail, they would attach these metal spikes to the bottom of their snowshoes. The spikes dig into the hard ice, providing the traction that the snowshoe's normal cleats cannot. There would have originally been 2 of them, one for each snowshoe. This strange, syringe-looking thing was found in pine straw. It doesn't look like a normal needle. What is it? This could be a short-needled tranquilizer dart that's missing its tail thing, the stabilizing fins or flight. Tranquilizer darts are used by veterinarians and wildlife managers to remotely administer tranquilizing drugs to animals. They are fired from a special dart gun. This looks like the main body of the dart, which includes the needle and the chamber that would have held the drug. The tail flight, which provides stability in the air, has likely broken off. It is a piece of specialized veterinary or wildlife management equipment. These metal rods with small bifurcated tips were found in a bag of old craft supplies. The handles look like tiny X-Acto knife handles, but the top does not twist. The slit in the tip looks like it could hold something. What are they for? As they were found in craft supplies, these are tools for quilling. Quilling is a paper craft that involves rolling thin strips of paper into coils or scrolls, and then arranging them to form decorative designs. This tool, with a slotted tip, is the primary tool used in quilling. The artist inserts the end of a paper strip into the slit and then turns the tool to roll the paper into a tight coil. The coil can then be shaped and glued. The link shows very similar ones at Walmart. This concrete object is on a beach in Florida. It has a black plastic rubber tube attached. It's too heavy to move and is stuck in the sand. What is it? This appears to be a duckbill valve and an effluent diffuser. This is the end of a discharge pipe, likely for stormwater or treated wastewater. The duckbill valve, the black rubber part, is a one-way valve. It allows water to be discharged out of the pipe, but the flexible rubber lips press together to prevent saltwater, sand, and marine life from getting back into the outfall pipe when it's not flowing. The concrete structure is an anchor block, holding the entire assembly firmly in place on the seabed. If you love uncovering strange and mysterious objects, hit that like button and subscribe. Stay curious. More finds coming soon.